everyone, how's it going? Steve here. Some stories can't wait for TNT, and this is absolutely one of them. I was surprised to wake up this morning to discover that Xbox has acquired Activision Blizzard, and I gotta say, this one threw me for a loop. Details about the deal are still emerging, but it looks like Microsoft may have picked up Activision for a cool $70 billion. Billion with a B. That is insane. That is one of the biggest acquisitions in gaming history, and honestly, despite Activision's position in the industry right now, I never imagined that they were up for sale. There are some interesting questions surrounding this, specifically given Activision's recent woes, the workplace culture issues, and kind of the never-ending tide of bad news that seems to be stemming from leadership within that company. And I have to wonder if that contributed to the sale, because I never would have thought that Activision would allow themselves to be acquired by another company. But here we are. This morning we're finding out that Microsoft has picked up the company, which means they now own Warcraft, World of Warcraft, which is still one of the best performing MMOs of all time, Call of Duty, which despite flagging sales numbers in recent years, is still routinely in the top 5 bestsellers every year within the US. And that's not to say anything about Diablo, Crash Bandicoot, and others. There are already some hopeful sentiments being shared on social media. Folks are hoping that Toys for Bob gets pulled away from the Call of Duty franchise and hopefully put back to work on what they do best, which is platformers like Crash. Some folks in my Twitter mentions have mentioned that they'd love to see Banjo-Kazooie being worked on by Toys for Bob, but as it stands now, there's no information on whether anything of the sort is going to happen. All we know is that we're definitely going to start seeing Activision Blizzard games on Game Pass, and unfortunately, the other piece of news that we know for certain, thanks to a statement from both Phil Spencer and Bobby Kotick, is that Bobby Kotick will remain the CEO of Activision Blizzard, at least for now. Though some prominent journalists in the industry, such as Jason Schreier, are opining publicly as to whether that will remain the case after this deal is fully settled. There are some questions around how the deal will look once everything is done. While it's public information now, an email sent out by Bobby Kotick to some folks within Activision indicated that the actual finalization of everything won't be until summer 2023, and that Activision Blizzard will continue to remain fully autonomous, meaning that they'll just keep doing what they're doing until that deal is final. Now, that being said, that doesn't necessarily mean that Microsoft can't impose changes, and that's kind of where I'm hoping things go, and where I think a lot of folks are hoping, is that Phil Spencer has been very public about the fact that he doesn't like the issues that he's seen at play at Activision Blizzard, and now, as the owner, he is in a position to make those changes happen. So we'll have to see where this goes. But it's a huge story, and it definitely changes the landscape of gaming in a big, big way, because this means that in all likelihood, we're not going to see the next Call of Duty on PlayStation, so it may just become an Xbox and PC franchise, and that is going to have a massive impact on more casual gamers and where they go to purchase their games. This might be something that turns the tide in Microsoft's favor. Although the console war, if you will, I hate that term, is a lot closer than people think, this could create a gap, and I'll be interested to see how Sony responds to this, what it is they do to strengthen their exclusive lineup. Though the PS5 isn't really struggling with exclusives, not having Call of Duty at least a generation or two ago would have been seen as a death blow to either side. So it'll be interesting to see how, or even if, they respond to this. Maybe they make an acquisition of their own, or they invest in more Western IPs. Microsoft is still severely lacking on the Japanese IP side of things. So I kind of expected this next studio acquisition, and I don't think anybody wondered whether there was going to be another one, but I expected the next studio acquisition to be a Japanese studio, because that is a major hole in Microsoft's lineup. A few months ago, we were talking about Sega potentially being acquired. I'm glad to see that hasn't happened, because I think Sega works best when they are able to choose their platforms. But I did think Microsoft was going to be targeting a Japanese developer and not another Western one. But if you're going to pick a Western one, getting a hold of all these franchises is a really big deal. But that's about it. That's all we know for now. Microsoft now owns Activision Blizzard. The deal is still in the works and has to go through regulatory approval and won't be done until apparently the summer of 2023. Apparently, unfortunately, Bobby Kotick is remaining in action for now, though we'll see if that changes. And it's an interesting time. I'm interested to see where things go from here. I'm hoping that Microsoft implements some really good changes and that Blizzard is kind of freed from having to release games every year or having to shift folks to work on stuff like Call of Duty. I hope that we're able to see more creativity come out of these studios, because Microsoft has generally been good about letting the studios they acquire make games that they want to make and not necessarily what's going to yield a billion-dollar success or something to that nature. So let me know what you think down in the comments below about Microsoft acquiring Activision. Do you think this is going to be a positive change for Activision, or do you think we're going to see more of the same, just with an Xbox logo slapped in front of it? I am personally in the camp of the former. I think that we're going to see some good change out of this, and I'm hopeful, but only time will tell. Anyway, thanks so much for watching. Stay tuned to GVG for more news like this. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button. Helps the channel out a lot. Again, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.